Um, Epic Games makes Unreal Engine. Maybe you guys haven't even gotten this far. Maybe you have. They made the Unreal tournament in 1999, made the engine available for people to play around with, became a very big community tool to use, and it's considered a AAA gaming engine. What this means is it's used by professionals to make titles for the Xbox and the PlayStation, and you can have teams of 200 using it at the same time, and it has versioning built into it, and all this kind of great stuff. You could do the same content in Unity as well. It's just a different kind of market. Unity is for like a couple people working on a project, sharing something on GitHub, and they're both great engines. And you'll kind of get exposure to you will get exposure to the Unreal in this one. But almost everything we do here, you can do in both, except for the live motion capture part of it. So you download, you have to sign up probably, and then download the Epic Games launcher from Unreal Engine. So you guys should go ahead and do this. As I said, ITP has like 10 or 14 MSI laptops. Highly recommend you guys jumping into those. They're gaming laptops and have great stuff. When you finally have Unreal installed, you're going to open up this thing called the Unreal Launcher. This is Mac or Windows, guys. I think also Linux. So I have this Unreal Launcher, and I just launched something.
For engineering school, we order our gaming laptops, but if we don't get them in time, you're always welcome to come and use the studio if you need it. So.
Yeah, let's arrange time. Don't just show up and kick us off the computer.
Yeah. Doodle.
Yeah, we'll be more organized soon. So so we have this Epic Games launcher. I want to point you guys out to. This is where all your projects will be stored on this library tab. Every project you make, you can find them right here in this My Projects area. And you see that I've been using Unreal for about a year and a half, and I have a bunch of different engine versions. Unreal updates all the time, and they build a new engine. The most current release is this 4.13, which you can see. We're going to probably be at 4.12 for a little while until all the stuff we use updates and is compatible, which we're still testing out. So this is 4.12. To add a new engine version, we go up to here, and then we choose which engine version we want to install. We want to do 4.12. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to do anything now. But that's how you get the 4.12 engine installed. And then you would just launch it to create a new board. Yeah.
Which target platforms do we use?
Target platforms.
Or when we're downloading the engine?
Target platforms.
Is it HTML, is iOS, is Android?
Oh, just do all. You guys go for it. I mean, this is going to be really big, so we might have to do some file management later on. But
do you need to have all the previous, for example, if you did
we're just doing 4.12.
No, but if you made a project in 4.8.3, will the 4.12
usually
work?
I've never had more than one problem per project when upgrading. So you just upgrade them as you go along.
So why do you keep the older version?
Because I don't feel like upgrading. That's why I said don't worry about the other stuff. Just do 4.12 for now. Yeah.
I have the same question.
Okay. Yeah, just 4.12. There are certain things that are deprecated that are like a lot of this stuff is experiments I did for class, and like some libraries don't continue to be updated, which is like why we're not at 4.13, because we're just waiting for iKinema, which is our live streaming plugin, to go to 4.13. But like this one might be an AR sample that somebody gave me, and it only works in 4.8, so I keep that engine installed. So sometimes you can't just upgrade, but any vanilla content that we'll be doing today should be upgradable easily, and I'll show you how to do that. You just like right-click on the icon and say upgrade to the next engine version. Should be pretty simple. Yes.
What are the other tabs on this side?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
That's what all of today is about. So we're going to do just file management and like learn how to explore the folder for Unreal. So I'm going to create a new project with 4.12. We're going to launch it, and it's going to open up an instance of the Unreal editor. This is software. It's content browser and outliners built into it. It has everything we need to make a video game. Should we? I've never made a video game personally using game engines. So anyway, Unreal went free and back last March, and the rule is that you only pay if you make $75,000 or more on your game. If you do art, it's like free no matter what. If you do narrative, it's free, just free. So we do free stuff. I don't make any money on this stuff. So we're gonna do a new project, and you see it has all these templates for us. We'll get into those later. We're not gonna worry about it. Let's just do it kind of simple and do it blank. Okay. This thing is called a blueprint. This is a visual scripting language that we'll be using in this class. We won't do that today. You do have the availability of doing C++. We will not get into that in this class. We are going to be doing it for my laptop, which it's either mobile or desktop. I'm going to do it for my desktop. This is like setting up some engine settings for me, knowing which target platform to go to. I like to max out the quality. And then there's a thing called starter content. This is like 600 megabytes of like cool materials and meshes or 3D objects you can use in your world that you think it's a great idea to always add them, but then they really 600 megabytes every time you start a new project can really start to eat up your space. So for now, I'm going to do no content, and then this is defaulting to be in my documents. That'll be the same case in Unreal Projects folder. This will be the case on both Macs and Windows in the documents. And then I'm just going to call this week 2. And this will make a project in a folder that will correspond to what we just looked at. So if I go to Documents, somewhere, or I can just wait till it opens up. All right. I've been on Windows so long I forgot how to use a Mac. Down. Oh, Documents. So there should be a folder called Unreal Projects. And there it is. And so this thing I just made called Week 2 is there. And it has some folders in there that we'll get into later on as well. But this is already open here. So I have a very blank project. I'm using my mouse, I'm using my right mouse button. I'm kind of rotating around. And then with my right mouse button and then my left mouse button, I can select items. All we have is a floor, kind of the sky that it gives us, and then a thing called a player start. And the player start determines where, when we hit the play button, we will actually start. In this instance, we really can't see anything for reference. I'm kind of moving out of the way. Over on the left side, we have a bunch of just things that are built into the engine already. I'm just going to take a cube out, and look at that. It's in my space. I'm building things. And if I go up to the top and I hit play, I now see that my player is looking at that box. Does that make sense? If I take this player start and I rotate it around, and I'm looking 180 degrees the other way, and I hit play, we'll see that the player start is looking the other direction. And then I rotate my mouse, and then now I see it. The general, with doing no template, we're just walking around. There's the keys W, A, S, D are driving my motion. If you use a first-person player game, you're used to these being the motion for which you navigate, and then the mouse will look around. W, A, S, and D. You can also use the arrow keys a little bit as well. Right and left will rotate your camera view. For the layout, the other important things are at the bottom here. This is like the way it opens default on mine. You can rearrange. All these things can be rearranged and be done customly. All these different menus. We have the content browser, which is empty because we started with no project. So this will have folders, and you can divide things. You can make new folders and call things assets and materials and textures. So we're going to organize our project and navigate it. And then on the right side, we have things like this. On top is the world outliner. This is all the objects inside my world. I added that square, that cube, and there's the cube in there, and I can select things this way. And if I was like lost and I couldn't find my things, and I wanted to find that cube, I could double click on it, and it brings me right back to it.
That's like a hierarchy.
This is this is the hierarchy, and you can do all the parenting and all that kind of stuff you would do in Unity. You don't have null game objects; you just have folders in here. Just play around with all this interface. There's a lot of links I'll post that you can just show you how to get around stuff. Any object I'm selecting has its details. These are all the properties, like where it's located, what orientation it's rotated to, and what the scale is. So I can make this much bigger. So now it's 5 times bigger in that direction and 5 times that way. And this is just general manipulation. This can all be animated and be manipulated live. You can see that this references a cube, and also references a material. We'll get into materials and stuff later on. Don't worry about it. We're gonna start migrating things over. I'm going to just save this board by hitting Command S or Control S on a Mac or PC, and just call it demo board. And I'm just going to close out of here real quick.
I want to say that if you have used Unity before and you're in this transition process, that if you Google Unreal for Unity developers, they have a big page on how to make that transition.
It says, oh, you're used to it being called this. Well, now it's called this. And they really do the one-to-one correlation, so you can use that transition as the world slowly leaves Unity and moves to Unreal. So we have our library. So I'm going to go these tab over on the left side. We have Marketplace. Should you feel rich and want to spend some money, here's how you buy things. You can buy all sorts of stuff. It's all categorized at the top. You have entire worlds, entire games you could download that you have certain copyright accessibility to use, animations. You have code. You have materials. You have special effects like particle systems. Music, sound effects. All this kind of stuff can be purchased.
Is the Magic Pack free?
A lot of things there will be a few things that are free. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the Magic Pack is really fun.
It's some particle effects. If you're Mahi, you know how to find these things for free. I'm sorry. I meant to single you out in the first class, and I'm going to do a lot more. This guy's a ringer. He already knows all this stuff. So we have a community tab, which is just like information about game jams and all that kind of stuff. Learn is where we're going to spend some time today. Learn is where you can download entire projects from Unreal themselves, and you can break them apart. And this is how I taught myself, was downloading things that talk about open world and content, and it has water examples and landscapes. These things can be large. They can be 2 gigabytes. They can be 5 gigabytes. But you download them, you can play with them, and you're like, oh, how does that happen? And then you're like, oh, well, I see, because I broke it apart. And these are for you to break apart. These correlate to walkthroughs that are on their website that will show you major features of each of these boards. I've already have mine downloaded, and they're in my library. That's where they'll end up for you guys. They'll kind of be down here, and you can say which project you want to add these things to. I'm going to just open up one that I already have open, or that I've already opened before, and this is called Content Examples. Every time they release a new engine, they will upgrade the content examples. This is the library of everything you'll probably get to in this class. Go ahead.
How do you get to the assets already?
It's in this Epic Games launcher. Like for me on a Mac, I would just say Epic Games launcher, and then it launches this window that I'm using behind me. And then there's the whole marketplaces on the left tab on this. I have, so content examples, which we'll open up now. This has examples of almost everything we'll do in class already integrated and built, and you can explore them. Like it's like a store. You just go down and say, oh, there's that bin, and that's bin, and that bin. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through content examples, and we're going to steal some stuff and do what's called migrating. We're going to migrate content over to our week 2 class project, and then we're going to build out a world based off these assets we steal. I'm not asking you to make any content from scratch. Just use what they already have. For right now, we want you to get comfortable with the interface and how everything works. So what it's saying is there's a bunch of levels, and see how it's like a little showcase? There's a bunch of things you can do. I'm just going to go File, Open Level. And here's all these levels, and each one will be targeted on a certain category. And so we have such things as an audio level that just shows interactive audio. We have blueprints, which are the visual scripting language, which we'll go over later on in class. We have things like cloth simulations, special effects. Let's do special effects. Okay. So, but I don't even know what the total count is, but there's plenty of these maps. What we're going to do is we're going to find 3 things we think are cool and migrate them to a level. Let's build a world out. Let's put together some ideas out of blocks and spheres and stuff, and then we're going to take 3 screenshots from these things. And before we leave today, I'll show you how to do the screenshots with high resolution. So what we can see, first of all, I'm going to let you know that I'm not hitting play. This is Unreal Engine. It just kind of does a real-time display of a lot of things like particle systems and skeletal motion. This is one of its beautiful features, but it's also a resource hog. When we do live coding in the class, we do it all together. You're going to hear everyone's fans start spinning on their graphics cards all at once in a big joyous chorus. So definitely at the beginning of class, plug in your computer so it doesn't run out. I've gone through an entire computer charged computer in an hour teaching this before. Just drains it. But yeah, I'm not even hitting play. This is just how it's simulating as I'm walking around. I'll hit play, and we can just kind of walk around the effects board. It says, hey, this is a high-level overview of all the things, blah, blah, and Cascade. Cascade is like the interface for using particles. We have particles that are rendered on our processor, particles that are rendered on our graphics cards. We'll go over that later. We have things that have, look at that, it's particles, but they're colliding. That's amazing. They're rotating. These things are trails. They're falling behind on these other things that are keyframe animated. That's awesome. I wonder if we could put those on mocap. I wonder if we can steal those and put those, like this is like using different features than just pouring. These are like now attracting and repelling and going different ways. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I like, yeah, this is great. Look at that, little collisions. This one has sound, directional sound. All right, we'll go over sound like somewhere around midterms. This is a particle system that is attached to an actual joint on a human on a form. Yeah. No, this was an A project in the class for sure. Yeah. Oh, look, a particle system can have shadows. That's what game engines are really great about: shadows and collisions. Yes, vector fields. This is a one frame of a fluid simulation done in another 3D program. Just one frame, all these little vector arrows pointing all those directions, and then you go drop the particle system in the center, and it will follow those fluid simulations. These can be rotated around and animated. They look great. Different kinds of color transitions. So these are all awesome, and I want to put them in my world. And since I'm running out of time, I'm not going to really be methodical about it. I'm just going to kind of like steal willy-nilly. So what do I want to steal? I want to steal this guy. This guy looks awesome. I'm going to select it, and I say that I see that it's called this BP sway cube. It sways, and I want to I'm going to right-click on it and say I'm going to find you in my content browser. So I've seen it, I've identified, and now I'm going to go in for the kill. And there it is in my content browser. It is located it for me. And I'm going to right-click on here. See all the right-clicking? This is why you need a mouse. And so what am I going to do with this? I'm going to go to the asset actions that I have available to me, and I'm going to migrate. See that right-click, asset actions. Sorry, it's a little small. And then migrate. Now I showed you how to find that project I just created before. This is all the things it's going to take with it. It's going to take a couple of materials, the actual particle system itself, and then the interactivity of it rotating around. It grabs everything that's connected to it and takes it with itself. So it'll be completely connected and linked to all the assets it needs to run. This could be done for entire games, entire levels, entire characters. Just if you migrate it, it'll pull everything with it. Just garbage collect it all and take it with it. It's a really great way of navigating, getting assets.
Here's a thought on that. I got really, really excited about migrating all this stuff into my project, and then I didn't realize that by migrating, I was putting gigabytes of things that I didn't use onto my project that I only used like a couple of things.
So when you're going shopping, sometimes your eyes get bigger than your stomach, right? You buy a bunch of food that you can't eat, and your stuff goes spoiling. That happens in this case as well. We'll talk about that for right now. Don't worry about it. Just don't break your computers. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So when we migrate something, it stays. It's like more like copying.
Yeah, it's going to stay where it is. That's a great question. Migrate makes it think like it's leaving
Yeah.
a place and going to a new one. Yeah, it's staying. You're not ruining. It's non-destructive, and then it'll end up in the same hierarchy in the new project that it was in the old project. So it is duplicating it essentially. Mahi, you don't have any questions? Okay, go ahead.
So what would be the difference between exporting and migrating?
Exporting is actually exporting things to FBX.
So can they be imported into Unreal?
I've been able to do that pretty much, yeah. FBX is a weird container, and we could talk about that another time, about how it handles materials and stuff. So what it's asked me to do at the very top is choose the content folder. I've showed you that week 2 is right here, and I told you it has a bunch of folders. The other folders besides content have some things that are not really human readable that we're not going to worry about. Content is where all the things go. The content browser inside my level will reflect all the folder structure of the content browser here on the Explorer or Finder. So it says choose the destination content folder. I've chosen that, and I just hit open. And it said, hey, everything did it successfully. I knew it would. I'm going to steal a couple more things to make this a little bit more interesting, and I'll speed up. So these guys are awesome. So you see this kind of two-dimensional image right here that I selected? This is called a widget. This is what Unreal using as a way to select the particle system. See, I just selected the particle system, I moved it. I didn't know how to select these individual ones, so I found the widget that is the representation of it, and now it's there. And slowly move down, and this could be driven by somebody. Anyway, so I'm going to get over that, and then I'm going to go to Content Browser, and I see all these things are awesome. I'm just going to take all of them, right-click on all of them. Asset actions, I'm going to migrate. And do I want to save? Nah. And it's going to take all these particle systems that use all these textures that are inside all these materials, and those are going to fall. And then I choose my content. I'm still selecting my content, so I'm just saying OK. And now I am done. Everything's migrated successfully.
You don't have to remember.
Yeah, you guys choose you can do more in squares. But you could take 3D meshes. You could take animated meshes. The content examples have plenty of things. I just went after the particles. Just who I am.
Yeah, but if you find a house or a boat
Or a houseboat. Damn.
then it's already for free, and you don't have to spend 3 days modeling yourself.
So I came back to my projects, and there's my week 2. I was able to find it there without having to go through the Finder. If I right-click, I can always show where it is in my my Finder. But here it is, week 2, and it's going to open it back up. Literally, my power went from 70 to, you can see it, 70 to 30 since I've been doing this.
Well, in real estate,
Yes.
so whenever we're moving a project, we don't just grab like the .u project file. We grab the whole folder, right?
Yeah, the whole folder. Yeah. Yeah. You want to keep the hierarchy. So now I have that demo folder that had the box. Oh, look, there it is. There it is. This is how we left things. That's great. And then we see that there's some example content. I'm going to kind of see where we have some characters. Okay. Yeah, you hang out there. And let's go through these particle systems. Let's just do it. There we go. There we go. It's a party, guys. It's a particle party. So there we go. There we go. So this world is very, it's one dimensional. It's very much just about particles. It doesn't really have a narrative. It doesn't really tie into my brainstorm exercise that I might be using to inform my homework. But it is something where I have taken more than one object from somewhere else and I put it into this world, and now I can kind of navigate around inside of this world and experience it firsthand. And yes, we could do this in VR if we wanted to. But that's not the purpose, but we can. And in 2 weeks, what we'll do is we'll set up the entire room so we can walk around inside of our homework assignments. So yeah, this is great. So I have this world. Let's say I put, I stole a castle here and I stole a lake here, and I made something I thought was really cool that had to do with my brainstorming assignment. And I stole some characters that were sisters that maybe had a bathtub full of condoms, and then I don't think there's a bathtub full of condoms.
I don't think that you can find capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a content example of capitalism. Yeah. Well, maybe there'll be some abstract interpretations of some of this stuff.
Brad Pitt is not there. I look for him.
He looks for them every week. He's like, "Is it updated?" So, I'm gonna do one thing. Just bear with me on this, and I'm recording this. I'm hitting the tilde button. The tilde button brings up my console, my log, and I can give it commands. And what I'm going to do, and it's going to autocomplete them for me. I'm just going to start off with the word high res, and it says high res shot. This is a console command for doing a high resolution screenshot. Then you're going to give it a multiplier. This is probably, I don't know, this is lower than HD, just this window right here that's playing. I could say times 8, and it'll give me a screenshot that's 8 times the size of the resolution here, which is another cool feature that Unreal has. And then you guys can make amazing hero images, like really cool camera angles that like have shadows and see the sun and all that kind of stuff, and take huge resolution images and make it your desktop wallpaper that goes along 15 4K screens.
Or your poster for your show.
Or your poster for your show. So I'm saying high res screenshot, and then I'm going to do a multiplier of, I don't know, 8. And then I hit enter. It's going to freak out for a second because it's doing that. This isn't the greatest camera. I'm a much better cinematographer than this. Let's see, now I'm at 27. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with 8. I think it's 16 is the highest it can go. Well, so in my week 2,
Oh, it's done.
yep, in my week 2 folder, there's a thing called saved. I do believe that's where it's going to be. In my screenshot, there it is. There you go. Yeah, 35 megabyte screenshot. So,
Look, it looks better than
Is the
your computer.
resolution at 72 DPI?
I think it's 72 DPI. So, you guys don't need to upload like 5 gigabyte images to the Slack channel because you can't. But, we're going to blog about like your brainstorming and how you can build a world around that using some found objects. And there's going to be error messages, like it says things like, sometimes it says lighting needs to be rebuilt, or so don't worry about any of that stuff. We're just having fun. Just if you have anything that you think that's stopping you from working, then totally let me know. Another quick one while we're here is the sky is an interactive day-night cycle. If you let it run for a while, the sun will set. And that's pretty cool too. You can kind of fake that if you want. You have to save a little bit of time. I could look at the sky sphere, and I could see that it's referencing the light that's in the scene, which is right here. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate it on any axis, whatever. And then I'm going to go back to the sphere, and I'm going to update. And now we've got sunset.
Honestly, I didn't know that.
The update?
Yeah, I thought Tom said he got it.
And then I'm going to make it really dark. And then I'm going to go back to the sky sphere, and I'm going to update. There we go. Now we got stars out, or maybe not just yet, but we will in a second. So this is, you have some really dramatic lighting right here, and I haven't really done that much. So there we go. Let's see if we get some stars at night. Are big and bright. There we go. So we have a list of things in our details. Remember, we have that details panel. We can say star brightness is, we want our future to be much brighter. So there we go.
Refreshment there. Oh, I didn't.
Now the stars are out. So like this is already super fun, and like we already have a super dramatic kind of scene, and we don't really know anything about interactivity or game design. This is just stealing and having fun. Yeah. And so you see, there's options. So remember these details. Like this sky thing is like pretty complicated, but you can change the cloud speed so they're flying around you. Well, that's not really that great. The sun, which we're not using right now, the cloud opacity.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's some really dramatic kind of things you can get away with. Let's see, refresh. Anyway, oh, it's not playing. That's why the clouds aren't going. So now the clouds are going crazy. Yeah, there's a big blur now. Yeah, that's where it went crazy. But anyway, so at 21% left of my battery, this is like start from scratch. Don't add anything. Don't use any templates. Just create a blank world. Don't own anything you don't don't be too scared if you have any errors. Let me know on Slack if you do, and we'll fix them. Just have fun with like abstract brainstorming, coming up with a thing, and seeing how you can represent that with just found objects. If you know how to do 3D, if you know how to do some other stuff, feel free to flex your muscles and show off. And then put your screenshots on your blog, along with pictures of your brainstorm you do, your mind map, sorry. And then post the link to the blog to the Slack. Don't post these images directly to Slack. hopefully it'll just like kind of embed thumbnails so we can all see visually on week 2. And I'll take this recording, I'll save it, and then I'll also put a link for it so you guys can review this stuff. And then we're gonna, as after this week, we're gonna start connecting the Unreal and the motion capture, and our labs will be about creating experiences and having fun. Yeah. Any questions about like the homework or Unreal Live? Yeah. Yeah. You can use assets that you've imported into Unity, but Unity converts things to a .meta file, and this turns everything into a .u asset file. Those two do not cross correlate, but you can always, and we'll deal more about like how to find assets from other places and bring them in, and convert them to U assets later. But in Unity you embed the model next to the meta reference, so you can find that and put it in. It's just called, there's a button right here called import. And import would be selecting any FBX, OBJ, whatever kind of 3D model you have, and that would bring it into your content browser. Yeah, Lisa?
Just to you got the examples from learning content examples?
Yeah, learn content examples, and you say which engine you want it to be for. You say 412 or whichever one you're downloading, and then you have to go to your library and find it and say build it, make it a thing. It won't automatically end up in your library. If I go back to my launcher, it actually will end up down here in this vault of things. It's like they're waiting for you, and then when you want to add it to, a lot of these things say add to project. They're much smaller things that can just add to project. But then something like the content, something like content is a huge love project of its own, so you can create the project. It like exists in a very small way inside the engine, and then when you tell what engine you want to build it for, then it'll go out and build it specifically for that engine. Brett?
I know this is like dependent on the very different you're using, but
Mm-hmm.
like how many things can you bring to Unreal, like roughly, before it starts interfering with the performance that I'm looking at?
That'll be a great experiment to have. Yeah, so the motion capture data will always be the same fidelity that it's being exported from the motion capture machine from. It'll be choppy rendering. And then there are ways to profile your scene, and we'll be able to identify what exactly is causing low frame rates inside of your Unreal thing. And and that's very important for doing virtual reality. And we'll spend a little time going about how to like optimize your scene and identify problematic things.
Like fog.
Like fog with shadows or something like that like is too much. Yeah, so a lot of lighting, shadows, and moving lights is how to really go at it immediately if you want to kind of make your computer blow up. Yeah?
So are there any specific things you're looking for on screenshots, or you're going to show that?
We call them hero images, like just do cool shots, you know?
That reflects your mind map and your poem.
We're not going to really get into cinema.
Content needs to feel.
Yeah, let it inform that. Let's
what
make
you
this
did.
this homework assignment whole. And yeah, and if you want to get into mise en scène and like, framing and stuff like that, yeah, you can totally do that.
Connect to that too.
What
What we did in class.
No.
So this was showing you how to do it. You're going to do this at home on your own, and then use that to inform what you're going to do with Unreal. So it's all tied together.
Who doesn't have a portfolio website yet?
Oh,
Make one. Who doesn't have?
Hey,
business cards?
Javier, business cards can wait. Yes. It's fine for this one. It's just our plugin inside of there doesn't work yet. So we're going to be in 4.12 until they update it, which might be tomorrow, might be in 5 weeks. So, but you're fine for today's homework. Doing 4.13. Yeah.
And I know it's very specific, but this one or this one, like, or the narrative?
You're going to create it. Yeah, for the narrative, it's going to be the one you're going to create at home.
Okay.
So create it at home and like sit around like a mad scientist,
Got
make
it.
that, and then let that inform how you steal
Got it.
content.
So it's not completely stealing.
No, you're being awful. You're gonna give it back. Oh, well then, say no more.
I don't know how you do it in digital format.
I think by deleting, yeah, by deleting.
It's on the syllabus, by the way. Yes.
So no lab this weekend. You don't have to come here. Do this from the comfort of your own home. from under a bridge, wherever. And then we'll jump back into the lab after we get back, and we'll start doing interactions, interactivity, and we'll play an invisible drum set inside of there. All right?
Awesome.
I'm at 14% now from 75.
I never got to download my